Hi there, my name's Chris McInnes and I'm a student psychologist at Murdoch University. I've currently undertaken a placement here at Rockingham Senior High School because I'm interested in undertaking work in school psychology. I'm here with Don Pugh, who's School Psychologist at Rockingham High School. How are the tasks undertaken by a school psychologist undertaken in a school in a West Australian environment?
How are they determined?
Determined, sorry.
The way they're determined, Chris, is that there's a service agreement negotiated between the school and the school psychologist every year. And in this service agreement, the principal and the school psychologist negotiates the tasks that the school psychologist will carry out. So it usually includes tasks like doing counseling for individual students, perhaps running professional development for teachers, and performing assessments of students who are having difficulties in learning. But the range of tasks can actually vary, and it's really up to the schools. The tasks do, however, have to be of a psychological nature. So the principal can't negotiate to have the psychologist drive the school bus or do lunchtime duty or that sort of thing.
Okay. So what are some of the tasks that you undertake each week as a school psychologist?
I've got a range of tasks here. One of the things I've negotiated is to support the Treating Everyone Decently program. This is a program to develop the behaviors students to stop bullying and be perhaps a little bit more friendly towards other students. So what I do with the chaplain is go in and speak to every class from year 8 to year 11 for about 10 minutes per class every 2 weeks on a psychological theme having to do with treating students decently. Another task that's been negotiated is provide counseling support for students who are referred by staff or parents, or students who self-refer. Students can self-refer at any time to the school psychologist simply by coming and making an appointment. If they're referred by teachers, then we need to talk to the parents very often and get the permission of parents. Another task I perform is intellectual assessment of students who might be having learning difficulties. So this might involve IQ tests, or it might involve some other assessment, perhaps of academic abilities. And the final task I'm doing at the moment is just going in to talk to classes 1 day a week on depression and what to do if students are feeling down and ways to handle feeling down.
So what sort of counselling issues do you deal with?
Well, there's a range of counseling issues, Chris. Probably a very frequent counseling issue is students feeling unhappy or depressed for a long period of time. Sometimes students may have been feeling really miserable for months on end. And it's amazing how many students are in this condition. Like the recent survey by Curtin University indicates that probably 10% of the school population at any point in time can be clinically depressed. And when I see these students, I may refer them on to their family doctor or to the child and mental health clinic. I also will do a bit of cognitive therapy with them to help them to learn to think positively and not to think really negative thoughts. Students who are depressed also very often have anger problems, because one of the symptoms is getting really irritated or angry for no apparent reason. and quite often one of the clues to depression is the student simply loses his temper and swears at teachers and walks out. And the underlying problem may be depression rather than having a lack of control with temper. There's quite a strong correlation between depression in students and very poor academic ability. So students who aren't doing homework or lose interest in school may very often be depressed. Another major issue is students who are having personal conflict. They might be being teased in school by other students for being overweight, or simply they haven't developed the social skills to get on. So these students may come and see me to get some help with being teased or bullied. Anger management is an area that teachers tend to refer students for. These are students who lose their temper frequently in class, and the teacher wants some anger management. There's quite a few other issues as well, but those are probably some of the main ones.
Okay. So who else in the school do you work with to help these students that come to you?
Well, the school psychologist is part of a student services team. And here in this school we have a student services manager and a team made up of 5 or 6 people. This includes the school nurse, comes in 5 days a week here, the school chaplain, who is also employed 5 days a week, who does a lot of counseling. There's an Aboriginal liaison officer who works part-time, mainly with Aboriginal students. And we have a community liaison officer who also checks on attendance and goes and sees parents of students who are missing a great deal of time at school. I hope I haven't left anyone out.
Okay, so what do you enjoy most about being a school psychologist?
I think probably what I enjoy the most is the contact with students. I enjoy counseling students and feeling that probably I'm doing something to be able to help those students, particularly the ones who are feeling quite badly distressed, and quite often they don't have anyone to turn to. I think one of the things I enjoy about it, being a high school psychologist, is developing relationships with these students by seeing them a number of times. When I work in primary schools, I find that very often a lot of my contact is with parents and teachers, and I very seldom get to see a student more than maybe once or twice. So you don't actually build the relationships with students that you might in a high school situation.
So what do you least like about being a school psychologist?
I think the thing that I really dread the most is when there's a critical incident. And one of the roles of the school psychologist is to follow up, provide support in case of a sudden death of a teacher or a student, or perhaps even a student's parents. And I've been through situations where a student has been killed in a school unexpectedly, and there's a situation where you rock up at school and there's massive grief, a huge number of students who are sobbing and crying, and the school psychologist along with other support members have to deal with this for the next few days, and that's hard work and quite distressing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chris.